Hopewell Valley Baseball on a roll takes on their first prep foe of the season and highlights from a disappointing first night of Thunder baseball. I'm Mark Fontes with sports. The Hopewell Bulldogs opened their 2012 campaign with 4 back-to-back games this week. Monday through Wednesday, they eked past Princeton High and West Windsor North, and they shut out the Lawrence High Cardinals. Thursday, they were at home against a different Princeton area school. And if you think they were exhausted from playing their 4th game in as many days, not exactly.
In the Valley of the Bulldogs Thursday, Hopewell welcomed the Hun Raiders to town. Hopewell already 3-0 on the year, trying to make it a winning Holy Thursday. Top of the first, runners on the corners. Steve Wells hits this on the ground. Tough bounce for first baseman Jason Patrick. Devin Burch scores to put the Raiders on the board. Eddie Paparella on the play moves up to third. No one was able to bring Paparella in, though. Bottom one, Brody Katharina for Hopewell up with a runner on. Lays this down nicely. Katharina steps on it and beats the throw to the bag. That's called base running. Bulldogs knocking on the door. Kevin Bradley up, hits this along the first base side. Wells cannot make a play. Jono Govantes comes in to tie the game, and Hopewell was just getting started. Patrick up with runners on second and third, ready to do some damage. Hits this deep to left field. The ball bounces, but then clears the fence. A ground rule double. 2 runs come in, 3-1 in favor of Hopewell. The Raiders would later cut it to 3-2. Then Brandon Smith up for them, hits this into the infield. It is enough to bring in Hamilton native Dave Dudek from third, and we've got ourselves a tied game again. In Hopewell's half of the third, John Croak belts this chopper toward short. The ball bobbled by Paparella. Croak will reach no problem, moving Patrick up to third. Same inning, Hopewell putting the squeeze on. You won't see most of it, but the bunt laid down. Patrick races home to score. The Bulldogs go back up by a run. This neck-and-neck affair would get tied up yet again in the top of the fourth. Then Paparella smacks this one on through for Hun. Birch, who scored the very first run of the ballgame, waved around. He makes it 5-4 Raiders. But the bottom of the fourth was the breakthrough inning for the black and gold. Pitcher Jason Applegate of the Raiders with the bases loaded walks Patrick. That forces Govantes in from third. Dog pound. They love it. Croak up later in the fourth. Smacks this one past the mound and into center for a base hit. Katharina comes in. Bradley is right behind him. A 7-5 ball game. Most of the runs in this inning scored with 2 outs. Couple batters later for the Dogs, it's Drew Crivelli. He smacks this one to center for more RBIs. It was the beginning of the end for Hun, who allowed 6 in that inning. And for the second straight day, we bring you a high school final of 15-5 in a game cut short by the 10-run rule. Thursday evening, opening night for the Trenton Thunder at Waterfront Park. Fans getting to meet this year's team firsthand as they got ready to take on the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, who won the EL's Eastern Division last year. The Thunder started off great. Bottom of the first, Abraham Almonte, one of the newbies this season, hits this to center, and it drops in for a double. Great way for him to start his Thunder career off. After Almonte, Ronnie Mustelje hits a towering fly ball to an even deeper part of the outfield. You might have a tough time seeing this one, but it lands for Trenton's second straight double. Thunder on the board in the first inning, 1-0 as Almonte comes in to score. Mustelje in scoring position with no one out in the frame. Few batters later, Melky Mesa, one of the returning players, smacks this to center. Mustelje comes in. David Adams, who reached earlier, heads to third. 2-0 Thunder. Fisher Cats would get the third out right after this, though. Couple innings later, New Hampshire's Justin Jackson belts this on the ground to Mustelje. He's got to hurry the throw, not in time. Mark Sobolewski heads to second on the play. In the next at-bat, pitcher Schaefer Hall, wild pitch. Sobolewski heads for third. Catcher Jose Hill's throw into left field. So an error helps the Fisher Cats to their first run of the game. Later in the third, A.J. Jimenez hits this to center for a base hit that drops in. That brings Jackson in to tie the score at 2-all. Fast forward to the top of the fourth, runners on second and third for Sobolewski. This grounder placed well enough to bring Mike McDade in from third base. New Hampshire takes their first lead of the contest with 1 out. Jackson up next with Brandon Van Kirk on third. You want to talk infield bloop single. Adams, E for effort right there. Long story short, the Thunder fall in their home opener 5-3.
And finally, Team of the Day is brought to you by Prior NAMI Business Systems. With the finest names in office products like Brother, Canon, Konica Minolta, and Muratech, Prior NAMI is changing the way small business does business. Allentown Redbird girls lacrosse appears onto something big this season. Their 19-1 annihilation of Jackson Liberty Thursday featured a 7-goal effort from senior Alex Moore, headed to USC to play next year. Sarah Hanley and Allie Buck recorded 4 goals each. The Lady Redbirds improved to 3-0 on the season with the victory. Well, that's all for sports for Friday and for the week. In a moment, a priest who was on Mercer County Close-Up a year ago stops by to tell us more about the true meaning of Good Friday. Don't miss it.